Welcome to the best outdoors program just off the shores of the mighty Red River. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, the heart and soul of all things related to God's great outdoors. Starring Gary McCoy, an all-around outdoorsman with a CMA Award for Best Personality in Radio. A man who excels in the radio world and needs no introduction to the outdoors, whether standing tall in the winner's circle or sitting low in the deer stand. Mike Eccles, the boss, tournament trail director, and outstanding duck hunting guide with a wealth of outdoors knowledge who's not afraid to give his opinion with or without the facts. His years of bass tournament experience ensures that rules are followed and anglers are kept in check. And last but not least, Daiwa and Ranger Pro Steve Graff, a member of the Northwestern State University Hall of Fame with years of bass tournament experience, who continues his pursuit of a double-digit bass and championship stringers. So let's jump on the front deck and make that first cast with the legendary minds of the great outdoors. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the one and only Steve Graff. Take it away, guys.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger Iowa Pro staffer. He's Steve Graff. Actually, though, I'm the only one in studio today. The mud hen, Mike Eccles, is out. Well, actually, it's me and little Topwater.
Yeah, but I'm just over here.
You got Topwater there.
Well, I forgot about it. And he's wearing a pink hat today.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah.
I got questions.
No doubt.
I'll
just be over here.
Yeah, but he did shave.
Okay, well, good.
We got him all shaved. Hey, I am here, but Graff is actually in Orlando at the ICAST show, which is the International Convention of Allied Sport Fishing Trades, and you're getting to see all the new stuff.
Yes, Gary, we are live here at ICAST in Orlando, and it is the latest and greatest. Whatever's new on the market today is introduced here, or what's coming out this next year is all introduced right here at ICAST 2017. And I took some pictures today, Gary. I just came from the product showcase. There's some really neat stuff out there. There's some stuff off the wall. You know, they have that every year. You always got some stuff out there. Like last year, the little duck bait that won bait of the show, I never understood that. Maybe Cliff can tell us a little more. Maybe he's tried the duck bait. I don't know. I can't make myself buy one. So, but anyway, today, though, real quick, we're going to start this show off. We're going to start it running, Gary. We're wide open. We got Cliff Pace with us, former Bassmaster Classic champion, V&M Baits. Cliff, welcome aboard. Thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely, man. It's good to hear. Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about. I know you've got a new skip, and I want to say this. And Kevin Jean, the manager, and I guess, what is your title, Kevin? CEO? General Manager for V&M Baits is in the studio with us, in here with us today. And and by the way, Gary, we are Facebook Live for the first time today. Actually, so folks, go to Hooking Up and Tracking Down Facebook page. You can probably watch us on Facebook if you want to. And but you know, with Cliff in here, there's so many new products that V&M, and I want to say this even with Cliff. Cliff, ever since you have come on board with V&M, you, Jacob Porosnik, and along with Kevin, I really think y'all have really hit one home run after another with your new baits you've introduced, your redesigning of soft plastic. I'm telling you, I'm really impressed with what y'all are doing at V&M.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We've put a lot of work and effort into it, and really, you know, try to make products that are kind of standout products that, you know, something that we can be proud in. And, you know, if you notice, we haven't really been a company to try to add a whole bunch of products all at one time. We've really taken our time and added just a few products a year for the last several years, and really kind of fill those little niches and those little voids in our product line, and try to make baits as well. You know, we're a Louisiana-based company, and we've really tried to make baits that really fit that market as well. And then now that, you know, we've grown more into a nationally recognized company and brand, we're starting to try to branch out and make some products that fit other parts of the country as well. So you went
in the Classic too. Really jump-started this whole deal. I mean, it's amazing what a win will do. Of course, a Classic win.
Winning the Classic was a blessing in a lot of ways for me and for all of my sponsors, not just V&M. And that's what it's meant to be. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, what does it take to get sponsors? And getting the sponsors, really getting the trick. The main thing is making your sponsors be able to make money off your relationship with them, and that's what we've done here with V&M, and been very happy to get Jacob Porosnik involved. He's a great fisherman as well, along with Kobe Krieger, who got involved with us this past season. So, you know, V&M has just been on that trail of just steady, constant growth now for about 5 or 6 years, and in doing that, we've created somewhat of a little mini empire. And we feel like we're just getting started. We think we've got a lot of things still to come.
Tell us about your new skip jig.
Well, this year we did. You know, our Pacemaker series of jigs we've had out for several years now, and they've just gained in popularity throughout their existence. And you know, we started out with the Adrenaline and the Flatline and the Pulse, which was our swimming jig, football head jig, and basically a flipping jig. And we came out with this new skipping jig, basically, and it's just exactly that. And a lot of people think about fishing docks and things when they skip a jig, and that's a great application for it. But, you know, this skipping jig to me, I mean, I've been using this bait, kind of playing with it for about 2 years now, before we stuck it out in the hands of the general public, just to make sure we had it exactly right. And you realize real quick there's a lot of situations where you want a bait you can skip that doesn't necessarily revolve around a boathouse.
Right.
You got, just like right there on the Red River where y'all from, you know, overhanging green limbs out there on the main river in the summertime, and you know, flooded willows and things of that nature. There's just a lot of times where you want a bait that can skip. So we played with this. Jacob and I did for several years, made several prototypes, and you know, that's one of the blessings for V&M is that, you know, I have the facility where I can make all this stuff myself. So we're not dependent on anybody else to make changes. We're not dependent on anybody else to alter anything or try to lean off their design. I can take something from the ground up, design it, make as many prototypes as we deem necessary till we feel like we're really comfortable in it. We've got it as good as it can be.
Y'all are all hands-on.
We're all hands-on, all hands-on, all in-house. And at the end of the day, that makes a big, big difference. When you have the governing control over things to make them exactly the way you want them to be, that makes a big, big difference in the finished product.
You know, Cliff, one of the things that people get caught up in a lot is color, you know. And I know y'all got only 8 color selections, which is probably all you really need, isn't it? Do guys get caught too much up in the color?
No, I don't think so.
No.
We started with 8 because it's a new product for this year, and we didn't want to be overwhelming. But I'm sure this product, just like our other products, will grow,
expand,
and end up becoming a 20 or 25 SKU product. We also just started with 2 sizes, a 5/16 and a 7/16. I think the sizes are probably what you do need for this product, but I think that the skirt colors, they'll grow with time just like everything else has. But, you know, we started with just 8 good basic core colors.
Right.
And I think that out of these 8 colors, for sure, a guy is going to be able to pick one that suits the water clarity and color and the body of water that he's fishing based off the time of the year and all the other little variables. So, you know, 8's a good starting point, but I couldn't say I could live with just 8.
Exactly. All right, let's jump over to something a lot of people are not familiar with, Cliff, and that's the Black Label balsa side of V&M. When you think of V&M, first thing that comes to my mind is always soft plastic.
Right.
So let's talk a bit about the Black Label side.
Well, the Black Label Bait Company, it's really its own standalone company. Kevin and I have worked on it for several years, and what this is really is these are handmade balsa baits that I make myself personally. This is what people talk about our off season. Black Label balsa is my off season. It's what I do in my spare time in the fall. It's something that I've been doing for a long, long time. I've always been big into tinkering and paying and piddling, and made a lot of my own crankbaits over the years, and even all the jigs and stuff that V&M are selling currently. That's where it all came from. Basically, was me trying to build a better mousetrap for my own personal self.
Right.
And Black Label balsa is no different. It's
but it's a true balsa bait.
It's a true handmade, built from scratch balsa wood bait.
Right.
Correct. Built just like, you know, the baits that were built back in the 70s.
Bagley,
that's right. The old
B-series, and
that's correct. They're all hand painted. They're all hand cut. They're hand assembled. I actually tune each one of them by hand before they go in a package. So,
but they're still affordable.
Well, for that market, they are. They're very fairly priced for what they are.
Right.
We added a few new colors this year to those of you that are familiar with Black Label. I added a couple colors in the Ricochet. Added a chartreuse with a purple top. A color called Hot Shad, which is a color I really, really like. It's really just a pearl with a black back, but it's got a chartreuse belly, so as the bait rolls and wobbles through the water, you get a little bit of that chartreuse flash, but not really overbearing.
Right. Now, when we talk about wobble, we talking a wide wobble? We talking a tight
Well,
wobble?
It depends on the bait. You know, when the square bills, the Ricochet Junior, and the Mini, they're all going to be real wide wobbling baits.
Right.
And then if you get into the flat-sided baits like the Slim, they're real tight.
More like a trap-type bait.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, Black Label has grown a lot, just like V&M in the last several years. Added a couple new colors this year in the tees. The Golden Gill and the Yellow Perch are 2 new tees colors that actually have plated gold props, which kind of give them a little bit of more pizzazz, a little bit prettier.
A little flash.
And then we have a new color called Lights Out, which is a all black propellers. It's got a little bit of shimmer and blue on top of it. It's really good low light color.
Yeah.
And even for you guys that like to fish at night, it's a really good color for that as well.
Right.
So
the name, Gary, this really got my attention. Ricochet. What a great name for a crankbait. I mean, I just was enamored with that.
Yeah, I come up with that years ago, and that's what these baits, the Ricochet and the Ricochet Junior themselves, that's what really makes them baits stand alone and be so good is the way that they come through cover.
Right.
Everybody talks about their square bill will hunt and their square bill will deflect well, but these baits actually do all the things that everybody else talks about their baits doing.
Yeah. Gary, have you tried any of these back in the studio? Have you tried any of these, Gary?
I have not.
And I'm gonna see if I can get my hands.
Absolutely won't do.
Yeah, we got to get our hands on a few of these so we can make sure we give these a test try. I see several colors on here that are definitely, to me, Red River killers, and I think they've got tremendous color selection. I don't know how many of these, what we got here, 10, 20, probably 20, over 20 colors in each different series. I mean, good gosh, I mean, it's incredible, and they're well made. Now, one of the biggest things with the crankbait, Cliff, is the what do you call that?
The lip material.
The bill
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
What material are you using for the bill itself?
For the Ricochet
computer board.
For the Ricochet family, I use a Lexan lip, just because I like that bait's designed to be thrown around wood.
Now, is that a thick kind of lip?
It is. It's a thicker lip. It's about a 1/16 of an inch thick, and it's just a clear Lexan hard plastic.
Yeah.
It's very durable. But
does that make the bait more buoyant too?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the buoyancy of it. But what it does do, it allows the bait to come through wood cover without hanging. A thinner lip, like say a circuit board material,
right?
It's going to cut more water and actually lets the bait swim a little bit freer and cleaner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you crank it down a log that's got say some loose bark on it or things about nature, if there's any cracks in it, that thinner material is going to find those cracks and cause the bait to get hung up.
Mm-hmm.
This bait right here, I wanted it built above and beyond anything else. I wanted it built where I could throw it right in the heart of cover and crank it out and not have to worry about it staying hung up.
Right.
And the Lexan to me just performs better in that situation. Now, if you look at some of our other baits like the Double D, which is a deep diamond crankbait that we make, and the Slim, which is a flat-sided plug, and the Slim DD, which is a flat-sided plug that just runs a little bit deeper.
Now, the DD series, how deep are we talking here?
Around 8 foot.
8 foot, okay.
8 to 10 foot. They all feature a circuit board material, which is a different lip material from the Ricochet, because in my opinion, those baits are better suited to have a circuit board material. So, when I built these baits, this whole Black Label deal, basically, these baits were baits that I was building to fish with for myself for years before I ever started, Black Label as a company.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was building them for me, I built them to fit specific applications and be as good as they could in those applications.
Right.
And I build them the exact same way now. These baits are for guys that are really hardcore fishermen that are wanting baits that are really going to be above and beyond your typical bait you're going to run by for $5 or $6 off.
Now, when I buy these, Cliff, and I take them out of the package, do I need to put new hooks on it?
They come with black nickel hooks.
Okay.
I've always been a big believer in changing your treble hooks. And
do you really?
Yeah. And regardless of what brand you use, I think you should change them continuously. I'll oftentimes change mine 2 or 3 times during the course of one day.
Really?
Yeah, I will.
And what you're thinking, I don't understand that.
My thinking on that is pretty simple. The sharper a hook is, the better a hook is.
So you think, now, if you're throwing on rocks, that would be the time you would probably want to change
rocks,
2 or 3 times a day?
And even if you're just catching a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
Those hooks definitely dull up a lot faster than we think. Really, just pulling those, and people don't realize just how abrasive just water is.
Really?
Yeah, if you pull those hooks through water for a long, long time, just the water itself will dull. So, I think regardless, the hooks that come on are good hooks, but they're just like anything else. You're going to have to swap them out at some point.
Yeah. Gary, Cliff Pace is, he's one of a kind. This dude's, they got it going on at V&M, and we want to say thank you to not only to Cliff for coming in, Kevin, being a part of our program each and every week. V&M's one of our sponsors as well. And Cliff, again, congratulations on doing a great job with a great company and a great design that you guys, you're continuing to be creative and innovative, and that's the key, I think, to
and that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to be known for. And we've also got one other bait while we're sitting here. We come up with this year. I'd like to encourage all the guys over in y'all's area to try, because I know y'all got a lot of really hardcore flippers and pitchers over there, and that's our new Flat Wild. It's a new little flipping bait, creature style, beaver / creature style bait that I spent about 2 years designing, and I swear I believe it's the best that there is on the market.
Yeah.
I'm really happy and satisfied with that bait. So all your fans that are big time flippers and pitchers, and I know y'all got a bunch of them over there.
I'm one of them. Yeah.
I would love for y'all to give that bait a try and get us some feedback on it. It's a new bait for us. Let us know
Okay.
how y'all like it.
We'll do it. Cliff, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Gary, I hear the music.
Well, exactly, and with Cliff sitting there, I was looking through the catalog, and they've got the whole Pacemaker series there at V&M Baits. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize, at one point, V&M was just plastic, and now, with the line that he was talking about a minute ago, the crankbaits and stuff, they've also got the bladed jigs from the Lightning Blade and the Ledge Blade. Right. They've got spinner baits nowadays. There's swim bait heads. They've got shaky heads and mega shaky heads, and just an unbelievable assortment to be able to go through. So if you're wanting to just, re-outfit yourself with some of the best, it looks to me like that would be a really good place to shop.
Oh, ain't no doubt. I mean, and again, like you said, when I always thought of V&M, I always thought of soft plastic.
Right.
Now, of course, they got the crankbait series, and they got a good spinnerbait line as well. And the buzz baits, they got the frog buzz, they got the what's the shad buzz?
Mm-hmm. A buzz frog and a buzz shad.
Yeah, those are both great baits.
Yeah, well, it's just our regular classic buzz bait.
Yeah.
Take a look at them. It's just vmbaits.com. Take a look at those.
Yeah.
And here in just a minute, I believe Mr. Shaw Grigsby is going to be on the show with us live from the ICAST show in Orlando. That's where you'll find Steve Graff. It's Gary McCoy, and we are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, The Tiger.
Thanks for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, J&J Exterminating, V&M Baits, and Paul's Farm and Garden. Now's the time to get those deer plots ready for the upcoming season with seed from Paul's Farm and Garden. Now back to the guys who'll need a different kind of plot one day. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, Steve Graff, and Topwater Jay Wadley.
In his little pink hat today.
Yeah.
What's the hat say? Is it for breast cancer awareness?
No, it's at, well, now I'm going to sound like a jerk. I saw it.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I know, well, it's a rose. There's a rose on it. My daughter's name is Rose, so I saw it. I said, I like it. Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah.
So this is for your little girl.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yep.
See?
Not because it matches my shirt.
I'm glad you cleared that up, Jay. Lord have mercy.
Steve Graff, the old Ranger Daiwa pro staffer, is actually on a paid vacation in Orlando. He just calls it work.
Yeah.
Because he's hanging out at the ICAST show. And if you will, Steve, kind of explain, the ICAST show is kind of like the new product show for the fishing industry, wouldn't you say?
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean, here at Orlando, they have a product showcase room where all the new baits coming out some are already out, some are coming out for 2017. They're on display, rods, reels, baits, you name it, boat accessories, they got it all, Gary. I mean,
when are they going to come up with a tungsten weight that costs less than $4?
That's a Shaw Grigsby question. Maybe Shaw can answer that one.
It's like, dude, let me
working on that right now.
It depends on how big you want, but they got them less than that if they're little.
I need 2 half-ounce tungsten weights. Do you take Visa?
Exactly. Oh, my gosh.
Give me your address. I'll send them.
Hey.
Exactly.
Elite Series Pro Shaw Grigsby is there, and Seagar's got a new fishing line from what Graff is telling me. Is that true, Shaw?
They have, I don't know if they really have anything really new that they didn't introduce last year, but they introduced Finesse Fluoro, which is just unbelievable. I mean, everything they have, I mean, if you got to understand the Seaguar deal is when we started fishing, we only had monofilament, right? And some Dacron lines.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get a little bit of fluorocarbon, and people didn't know what it was. It was just Seaguar. And,
well, was copolymer before
we had a little bit of that where they blended the nylon.
Exactly.
So that's a copolymer where they blend a couple different nylons together to make a line, and they'd be, limper and stuff like that. But the real advancement was back when I started tarpon fishing, fly fishing for tarpon. They had this saltwater stuff. We were using 100-pound mono for these little shock tippets on fly fishing. And so you use 100-pound mono. Well, all of a sudden they came out with fluorocarbon, and Seaguar is the one that invented it. And all of a sudden you can now use 60 or 80. It's crystal clear. You get more bites, and it frays a lot less, and you catch more fish. So all of a sudden I saw this in saltwater, and I'm going, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Never thinking that we'd have an application for it in freshwater.
Yeah.
And Seaguar kept developing and working, and now they have a whole line, not just a fluorocarbon. Most companies have a fluorocarbon.
Okay.
Seaguar makes their own, so they develop their own resins, their own thing, and run them all the way start to finish is all them. So now they can do proprietary things that nobody else can do, like Tatsu, which is a double structure. Now, it's still one filament, but inside, the composition of the inside core is different than the outside, or the inside, the core to the outside shield, and it gives you incredible properties. Like when I was fishing the Classic up in...
now, is that their top of the line?
That's their top of the line.
Tatsu.
The Tatsu. And, but anyway, it's just super, super limp, straight, gives you great hook setting power, but great durability. But then you also have a BrazeX for flipping.
Right.
You got InvisX, which mainly we think about is all around and spin and tackle. Right. And then they came up with cool stuff like flipping fluoro.
Right.
So instead of having braid that you'd flip into a tree and the braid would cut into that wood and hang up.
Right.
As soon as you cut it, it's thin. It's like saw blade, it'd cut in there. And now you lose the fish because he's buried up in the tree. You can't get him out.
Exactly.
Use flipping fluoro. 30-pound, won't cut into the wood. You catch the fish over and over. So they came with flipping fluoro up to 30. They got flipping braid because we'd always take a marker and mark it. They got flipping braid that's specially designed for your hook setting clothes. They've got all the fluoros from Finesse Fluoro now, Red Label, and which is a much more affordable. But Finesse Fluoro is so precision that they can take that and say, this is going to break at 7.2 pounds.
Wow.
Or 7.3. That accurate. And so it's a precision, micro, braid that's so intense. So when you're fishing, instead of having 6 and 8 like now, we got 5. And I think it's 5.2. 6.3, 7 point. I got to remember them all because the points get me. But I know we have a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. So that come in there. The biggest is 8.4, 7.3, 6.2, and 5.2. I think is what it is. Anyway, and amazing line. So you're finesse fishing. You've got you can say I need something lighter. I've got it. You can say I need something heavier. I've got it.
Fact or fiction? Because this is one of the myths I think about fluorocarbon, that it has thin places in it. True or false?
No, absolutely not. Especially not Seaguar. No. So what happens with fluorocarbon is they have these little beads that they blend, and they actually most of the fluorocarbon resins are used in things. They're like super resins. They line industrial tanks for acids and crazy stuff. So you're talking about almost an indestructible product.
Right.
It's that good.
Right.
And so you don't have to worry about the heat. You don't have to worry about the ultraviolet and all that kind of stuff. So it's an incredible product all around, and it has the same refractive index basically as water. So that's why it disappears. So you can use, if you want to go heavier, you can go heavier and get the same strike.
Exactly.
Because it basically disappears.
Another thing too, you can't tie the standard polymer knot.
Now I can tell you, and the polymer, when I was using other fishing lines, the Palomar knot I would tie, and I would think this is junk fluorocarbon,
right?
Because it would just break,
right?
And I think anytime you cross over and you cut, which is what a Palomar does, and so it definitely weakens it. I don't use that knot on fluorocarbon, but I
used the knot you showed. I actually went to the video on
Isn't that
YouTube.
Cool?
I call it the Shaw Grigsby knot. Just give you a little credit there.
Thank you.
And I actually...
It's called the Pitson.
I've told a lot
double
of...
Pitson.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The Pitson. Because I've told people, I said, go to Shaw Grigsby's YouTube, fluorocarbon knot, and he'll demonstrate for you how... It's very easy not to tie.
It is. It's simple. I got to tell you, and I didn't know this, but my one of the guys that I started the TV show, 20-something years ago when we started One More Cast, he tied this knot, and I thought it was really interesting that he just kind of, wrap it around and stick it through. And I'm like, that's crazy. That can't be a good knot. And it turns out single, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And double, it's that much better. So as a fluorocarbon knot, the double Pitson is amazing. Another good one seems to be the double improved clinch knot, which you double your line tie and improved clinch knot. Those are both really good knots. But I'm going to tell you, for Seagar is simply because it is the best. It is the standard by which anybody else grades fluorocarbon. You can't beat what Seagar has. So everybody tries to match them or whatever. And because of that, you can actually tie a Palomar knot in Seagar, and it holds very, very well.
Okay.
Strange thing, because their resins are that good. So, but I highly recommend the Pitson, double Pitson. It's incredible.
Right. Another thing too, a lot of guys still aren't comfortable with fluorocarbon.
Yeah, it's strange.
I got a guy that's listening back in studio on the headset with you right now.
Really?
Oh, I can't convert him. I'm trying to convert him.
No, I'll tell you how bad.
Tell him why he should be
telling you. I'm going to tell you. First off, it lasts longer. Okay, you're going to get. Hey, I tell you, what's his name?
Gary.
Gary. Hey, Gary.
Yeah.
Down here. Okay.
Here.
Let me tell them, Gary. Okay. Do you fish tournaments?
A lot.
Okay, so you fish tournaments. I bet you re-spool that mono every day, right? After a tournament?
No,
if I'm throwing mono, yes. But you know what?
Okay.
Our water stays so stained down here that, generally speaking, I can get away with braid.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
So I just spent a day or two with Mark Davis, not big Mark Davis from the Elite Series, but big Mark Davis of Big Water Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a statement to me that I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was really cool, because he takes his camera and goes underwater. What we see as looking in the water is like, we don't know. It's just, it looks dark, right? But you don't know if you get down 2 feet or 3 feet, and we don't really know what the fish sees, right? So he takes his cameras down. He goes out. He's up there halibut fishing. The water's darker and darker, and they can't see anything. We use this big old stuff, and they catch a few halibut. He took fluorocarbon there, and they're blowing them up. They're winning every tournament, catching tons.
And you think that makes that big a difference?
Absolutely, because we don't know what they see,
yeah.
But you try it, and all of a sudden you're going, holy cow. And what they did, they dropped the cameras down. They found out that underwater it gets clearer and clearer and clearer,
right.
And now they're smoking them. But the point is because we don't really know what they see.
Yeah.
So why would you take a chance at saying this fish decided to turn it down because it had mono and you could see it?
Right.
And they go, no, I don't want that. So why not use it?
Wow.
And it lasts longer.
Exactly. Yeah. How big a fan of you are, Shaw, of the fluorocarbon? The braid with the fluorocarbon leader.
Okay, I do that. Every spinning rod I have is I start out filling it with just a little bit of junk mono.
Right.
You hear that? Junk mono.
We got a whole bunch of
laughing. Anyway, so I take some old mono and I fill up, and fill a quarter spool or whatever.
Right,
That's so the braid doesn't slip.
Right.
Then I tie on my braid. And Shaw Grigsby has a knot, too, and it's not my knot. It's a buddy of mine that developed this. He's a snook fisherman, great knot, and it's pretty simple to attach the two together, or you can use the FG. The thing about the FG knot is it's harder to tie, and you have to learn it. You have to really learn. You have to spend not a day or not two. You have to spend, like, really long time.
7 wrap?
The FG knot is when you're going to crisscross them and hold tension on your main line and rip and wrap.
No, I don't do that one.
It's a real pain. So the one that I tie is real simple. Uni knot is your fluoro around the braid,
right.
4 turn, so you draw a little circle, run it inside 4 times, kind of gently snug it up. Now you got your little tag end of your braid
right.
and your long fluoro leader. You put your finger there so they're split, and you wrap 12 times, do an improved clinch knot, down to the bottom and back through. 12 turn and improved clinch knot is your braid around the fluoro. It grabs it like a fist. You can't get it to let go, and it doesn't slip. And so you butt it up with that little uni, and you've got the perfect knot. And it's so fast to tie. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so you tie that.
The eye pretty good, It does.
Because it's only that uni knot.
Right.
That's the only big part. The other part's just real tiny thing. So anyway, but I tie that on. Then I tightly spool braid on my spinning reel up till it's full.
Right.
Okay. And then I cut the braid off. Now, if I want to go straight braid to a bait, I'm straight braid to that bait. If I want to go, like a lot of topwaters, I go straight braid. But if I want to put a leader on it, like I'm smallmouth fishing drop shot, then I just tie on with that same knot I just told you, tie on, and I use the finesse fluoro and tie on a 7-point, 3-pound fluoro, and off I go. Now I can tie it on and make it about a 20, 25, sometimes a 30-foot leader, and that's really not called leader, be a top shot, because you put it on, and then, dude, I'm off there. So now I can drop shot, finesse fish, and I've only used 30 feet.
Exactly.
So how long is my spool of Seaguar going to last?
Yeah.
Long time.
Exactly.
Because that braid will never wear out.
Right.
It's
And
there.
even one thing I've started doing, I flip both ends when I want to respool it. I'll flip it to the other
You
end.
can.
And
You
respool
can.
it.
Yeah, if you want to do that with braid after a few, after a year, because
Exactly.
it sometimes twists, especially with a drop shot, and I use 20-pound smackdown as my braid, as my backing, and then go from that.
Let's talk about the smackdown real quick.
Wow.
And I see they make it in the yellow. Do you have a preference on color when it comes to braid colors?
Yes, I like black, so I'm using flipping fluoro for most of that. Now, my frogs and stuff like that, the sexy frog and all, I'm using Smackdown. I use 65, and I usually do green.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what's cool about the yellow. The yellow I got for saltwater fishing. I do a lot of snook trout, redfish, tarpon, whatever. And I like that yellow because you can see what's going on. You can see when a fish is coming up, at distance. You can see what's going on. So I started using it flipping. Oh my gosh, it's stupid because
for flipping brush. I mean,
flipping. So what you do is you take one of the black magic markers and you mark off about 6 or 7 or 8 feet. So what I generally do is hook it in the line holder at your rod, at the bottom of your reel, and then run it up the tip, and I just run this black magic marker up and down. So now my yellow is black, which is what I love. Why I love flipping fluoro.
Right.
But the rest of it's yellow. So as it goes through, you see that yellow go ding. If something stops, it jiggles it. It lights it up. It's like you've got a neon light going rather than just black going in there. And you can see what goes on. It's really cool. So, it's a very, very good thing to use.
Now, Seaguar have anything that you can think of on the horizon that they're working on?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're always trying to be creative and innovative.
They are, but, they really knocked it out of the park when they came with some of it. And we kind of requested some of this flipping stuff because, a lot of people think that you're using braid or you getting this heavy cover and these heavy bushes and you want to use braid because you're not going to break off.
Right.
Well, the issue is, I was telling you, it's like it cuts into the wood and then you don't get the fish out anyway.
Yeah.
And so, we did a specific flipping fluoro, and that works not only for the brush, but, using like the 30 because you get the strikes because it's still that fluorocarbon that's crystal clear.
Exactly.
But then you can do all kinds of other stuff with it. So I take like that fluoro heavy, and I like the flipping fluoro because it's a little bit stouter.
What's that? What pound test are you using when you're flipping? Probably
20, 25, and 30. They make all 3 of those in the flipping fluoro.
Okay.
And I love all of them for different things. Like I bed fish and I'm sight fishing. A lot of times I'm using that 20.
Yeah.
It's just because I know I got a beast line and a beast hook set, and I sometimes am pretty close to them, and I want everything to just be the best, and I think it is.
Right.
So especially when it's designed for that close hook set with a flip stick, and you can jack them up. So I do that, but let me tell you a cool little deal. So you topwater fish, right? How many people throw a topwater with a prop, right?
Yeah, right.
And what happens if you put braid to that, or even mono to that? Every now and then you'll twitch it, and that line will come back and wrap up on the prop. You set the hook out a pig, and then he breaks off. Okay, so that stinks. So what I've done is I take a piece of that flipping fluoro, like a 20-pound, and I only take about a foot. And you tie it on your bait, and then you take that end, or you can do it the other way, and tie it on the leader, the same knot that I told you. Tie it on and make a short leader, like 10 inches to 12 inches max, okay? And you throw it. Now this is that stiff piece of fluorocarbon sitting there out in front, and because it's so short, it doesn't mess up the buoyancy or anything like that. It's not like having a big one that's going to soar, because fluorocarbon sinks. Great for crankbait sinks. So it's going to go down. So you don't want to use it on topwater. This situation, you can. It's stiff.
Because it's short enough, it doesn't have an impact.
Won't have any impact. But guess what? It will never let that braid or any line come back and wrap. It stays out in front, and yet it's clear, so it's really cool. So I put that on like my little, sometimes it's a sexy dog because the sexy dog has so much action going left, right that it can loop back and catch braid.
Yeah.
So I'll put that little piece of fluorocarbon on that, and the little poppers, KVD splash, and things like that. It works really well.
Gary, we got any questions, or are we about out of time?
No, I think I'm sold. I'm on the website right now. I'm trying to find where I can run by and pick up some Tatsu and some of the flipping fluoro. We got to update. It looks like.
Well, I can tell you on that Tatsu, if you live in any cold climates, you better have it. It is the most amazing line to stay limp and straight even in freezing freezing well. I mean, you can have single digits. It's like, and you go, oh my gosh, and it's wonderful.
So it's a combination of probably a Brazex and VizX, all kind of.
Yeah, I would say take a Brazex out, but it is a really, because it's a double structure.
Okay.
In fact, it's the same thing that I use. I mean, the core is going to be tougher, but it doesn't let it do anything but just be really limp.
Okay.
And so, but it doesn't have the stretch, which is cool because the core is a tougher core.
Right.
It's just an amazing line.
There you go.
Shaw Grigsby, thank you, sir.
Hey, guys, I appreciate it every time.
Elite Series Pro Shaw Grigsby, the new Seaguar fishing line. It's all part of the ICAST show right now. That's where you'll find Steve Graff. He's in Orlando. And here in a minute, hopefully we're going to find out from Strike King Pro Phil Marks what's new from Strike King. We're hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, The Tiger.
You're listening to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Nichols Department Stores, and Louisiana Coastal Conservation Association, making a difference in the future of our waterways. Once again, here's Steve, Gary, Mike, and Jay.
United Rentals is your one-stop shop for all your rental tool and equipment needs. Services like custom on-site solutions, online management tools that will simplify and save you money any and all your projects. With online services and equipment protection plans that will make your job easier and safer, United Rentals will make sure your rental equipment is used effectively and efficiently so that you get the most out of your rental time. Go to UnitedRentals.com to find a dealer near you. United Rentals, the largest rental company in the world. Thank you, David Deschelle. All right, Gary, we have another. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know if we've ever had a show, Gary, where we just had one just superstar after another lined up. I know Phil won't toot his own horn, but I'll toot it for him. This guy right here.
Because if there was ever a tutor, it was you.
Hey, that's me.
You begin to see that myself.
Yeah, well, of course, he's following up Shaw Grigsby, and we're going to talk a little bit about Strike King. I've got some, hold on here. Here we go. There's a Strike King catalog for 2018, and I'm sure Phil already knows what's in here. He don't need the catalog, but I brought the catalog along just so I could follow him. But, Phil, first of all, thank you for being on with us. We really appreciate you taking the time out of this busy hour.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you guys are loaded
it.
to the gills with having to be different places at different times. I've watched a lot of the TV episodes that you've done, you and Clark together and different people that you've had on together. I think you and Zona were on together.
That's always fun.
Yep. Matter of fact, I fished the area where you and Zona went to Rayburn. And I actually got on fish before a tournament at Rayburn where y'all went and fished.
Oh, no, I hope I didn't hurt your tournament.
No, you didn't hurt my tournament at all.
Okay.
Because they didn't bite for me on tournament day.
What does that have?
Well, yeah, exactly. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoy. I think y'all do a great job on the Strike King series when y'all do the introduction of new baits. I know y'all have had the rat of the Poppin' Frog has recently come out. I think you've done a rattle trap type bait.
Red Eye Shad. That was probably a
Shad.
decade ago, but it's been very successful.
Yes, and again, thank you for the work that y'all put in, and explain to people what goes into developing a new product. People don't have a clue, do they, as to what's really involved and the financial side of it as well.
You know, it's different. It depends on the really the type of bait, whether you're talking about hard baits or soft plastics or lead poured products. Lead poured products are pretty easy, pretty low cost of entry, but depending on the bait, most of the questions really people are hard bait because that's where there's a lot more design work, a lot more engineering that goes into a cranked or build bait, something like that.
Right.
From anywhere from tuning to trying to get a certain depth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but fortunately for me, living, I live in Dallas and spend a lot of time in East Texas. East Texas might be the epicenter of tournament fishing, and with our viewers, I mean, you'll see a decidedly East Texas presence in a lot of our, East Texas, West Louisiana, and a lot of our introductions.
Right.
It's just because Rayburn, Toledo, those ladies.
It doesn't get much better, does it?
It just drives a lot of business. I mean,
exactly. I'm originally from Mount Pleasant, so I kind of grew up on Monticello, and so I know all about those East Texas fisheries. And but anyway, all right. Now let's talk about again. For years, when you thought of Strike King, I didn't think of soft plastic much.
Spinnerbaits and jigs.
Spinnerbaits, exactly. Mm-hmm. Now the Rage Tail series and other things that y'all have come out with and I know now you've got a baby menace that's coming out that's being presented here at ICAST. Tell us a little bit about the soft plastic and what's going into that and what's new coming out with Strike King.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that you talking about us being a spinnerbait company really kind of showing your age.
Yeah, oh, no doubt.
We have done a real transformation. I've been with Strike King for 22 years, and that's when that transformation began.
Right.
And so, and it's evolved into hard baits. Now we're really focusing on soft baits, and not just soft baits, not just Me Too items like you're talking about, like the whole Rage Tail line of stuff. I mean, there's 4 patents that we have covering Rage Tail designs, the flange, the way the water flows over, that kind of stuff. And we're not a big patent type company, but we do have to protect ourselves, and we feel like with the quality of the baits, they're all packaged where they don't have any deformation.
Right.
I mean, I hate to pull out a lizard and one of the legs is kinked. I mean, that just bugs me. And you got 10 in a bag with 3 of them you can't fish with.
Well, some companies have a problem with color consistency.
That too.
That y'all have just nailed that.
We try. We work really, really hard on it. It is a challenge. I mean, we try to keep the colors consistent from batch to batch. We have a formula. We do not allow we don't use any regrind in the material, so that our durometers, i.e. the softness, because each bait is designed to do a certain thing, and the softness and salt content is adjusted accordingly to make that bait design and have that action consistent time after time after time. And that's why you see a lot of the baits are clam packed, and so they don't deform during shipping and at the retail level.
Do you see a day coming where recycled soft plastic will become more of the norm?
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope so. There's tonnage of stuff, and guys, it's so easy to catch a 2-pounder and he's messed up your bait and you're trying to re-rig and you just flip that worm over the side and it sinks to the bottom.
I quit doing that 2 or 3 years ago.
And guys, we all need to. I mean, we're not getting a whole lot of new lakes, and that stuff takes forever to dissolve in our environment. It really never does, really, truly. So, let's just take the time, throw in the bottom of your boat, throw in the trash.
The turning point for me personally was I had caught some fish off of Red River, and I never keep fish to clean, but I actually took some fish home just so I could tell my wife. She believes I went fishing.
Right, I hear you.
I'd have proof. I'd have proof. And so I'm actually cleaning some fish, and I noticed some of the fish were just real skinny, like they just were not feeding well. And when I cut those fish open, what's in there?
That's right.
Soft plastic.
And normally swelling up where they have top. They will eventually pass it most of the time, but some of them don't. Some of them die.
That's
we
right.
never see that. It's a very, very.
But it affected the health of that fish dramatically.
No question.
So,
it does.
All right. What else? What do we have that you want to talk about today that Strike King's got that we just got to have?
Again, we don't have anything out the charts brand new, but probably the thing as a fisherman, what I'm most excited about is our 4.0, the KVD 4.0 square bill. I mean, it's perfect for Western Louisiana fisheries and East Texas and stuff like that. It's in between our 2.5 size and our 8.0, so it's not something that's going to wear you out.
Right.
It's great. I mean, it's just heavy enough where you can cast, roll cast under cypress tree limbs, around boathouses. It's more buoyant than most of our square bills in the lineup, and we made that so it come through cover better. Deflect off of stuff, but it still has that hunting, erratic, side-to-side searching action.
Greg Hackney did a video presentation down there a while ago with one of the distributors that he was working with, and he went into detail about the new bait. I was impressed. I thought, when you look at a crankbait, guys, you just look at it and you're like, that's just another crankbait. You really got to do your homework and research these baits and look and see what detail goes into them.
It is, and you see, we've got 7, 8 different sizes of square bills in there.
Yeah.
But that 4.0, it's so much different than a 2.5.
Yeah.
2.5 is designed for square bills max depth. We wanted the bait to get 7, 8, 9 foot. The 4.0 gets 4 or 5 foot. It's a different deal. Hackney had a lot of input in that bait, as a matter of fact. So, obviously he's up to speed on it. He really likes it. Van Dam and Hackney, working with those two guys on square bills is always a pleasure.
This is a bait that I know you know a lot about, fishing at Rayburn and so forth, Lake Fork, different places like that. The swimming baits, the swim series of baits, swimming shads, the caffeine shads. Tell us a little bit about those and why are those becoming so popular now?
Well, the main reason they catch fish.
They catch fish, that's right.
And, we've got, 4 different swimming little baits. We've got the swimming caffeine shad, the swimming shiner, we've got Shadalicious, and we've got the new Rage swimmer. And they all do something different. There's a more aggressive swimmer, less aggressive, more water. Some are more designed for, really to be used on a jig head by themselves. Some of them are, really good, compatible with your Alabama rigs and titanium umbrella rigs and things of that nature. But, we have so many and we have so many colors because they just flat catch fish, know. In addition, like the swimming caffeine shad, and the Rage swimmer, both of those are great swim jig trailers.
Yeah.
So you bite off an inch or two and slide them on. So a lot of guys are using that stuff as a swim jig trailer. Of course, swim jigging, it's pretty much, people don't throw spinner baits. Don't go down banks throwing spinner baits anymore. You go down banks swim jigging.
That's right.
Especially in our world.
Another bait that's kind of taken off over the last 2 or 3 years has been any type of creature or beaver-style bait. Y'all's rodent is another bait that has had great and very versatile bait.
Yeah, we came out the rodent in the KVD line of plastics 7, 8 years ago,
oh, wow.
and it's one of our best-selling body styles. And then we came out with a Rage Bug, which is basically a swimming rodent, for lack of better words. And of course, that's been very well accepted. I think that's just standard in pretty much every tournament guy's tackle boxes. You just see them. They're either Carolina rigging it, they're flipping it, they're bed fishing with it. It's just a standard. Kind of like the Rage Crawl is a standard. It's not only a jig trailer, but used as Texas rigging and Carolina rig bait.
Another bait that I've used a lot, and a friend of mine, Cole Garrett from Louisiana, put me on to this, is the Blade Minnow, and I'm using it as a trailer a lot on my chatterbait.
Yes, that's correct. And that's what it's designed for.
Yeah.
We've had that in the line for like 4 years, and it's funny, people are just now discovering it. I mean, we maybe did a poor job introducing it, but it's 100% designed to be on the back of bladed swim jigs, whether it's a chatterbait or pure poison or, our Rage Blade or anything out there. It's just fantastic.
Tell us a little bit about the new bait that I actually saw y'all catch some fish on. I think it was you and Clark were together. The Poppin' Frog, was that you and Clark?
That was probably myself and Todd Castledine.
Castledine, Todd.
And, that's our popping perch. And, guys, we're all fish to frog.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, we've all tied on frog, go throw around lily pads on the bank, all that kind of stuff. And, one thing everybody talks about is, hey, when you hear that popping in the lily pads, it's the perch popping, keyword perch.
Right.
Perch. And say you hear frog popping, you hear perch. That's what the bass are keying on when they're up there. They're running perch beds, brim beds, they're eating bluegills, any kind of sunfish lives up there. So we're like, we need to make something that looks more like a perch.
Yeah, right.
We decided to do the popping version first, which we introduced at last year's ICATS. We're still trying to fill orders on that stuff. And guys, I'll tell you, as a fisherman, I'm real proud of that bait. And it's a really special design that we came up with, striking eye, and it's a fish catcher. And we're coming right behind it. Next year we'll have a pad perch, which will be a perch version doesn't pop.
Something to add to
you have to have a point in those versions to come through really the thick stuff.
Right,
the popping stuff's more for your scattered cover.
Exactly.
Clear, a little more open water. You're moving it faster, making more noise. So,
over grass bed. Phil, thank you for coming in here and with us. I want to thank also Herb Jean. Herb's one of us, Gary. He's from our neck of the woods.
Herb and I go way, 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 way back.
Oh,
wait,
you said you and McCoy go way back. Do we need to get in some? No stories.
I got one Herb Jean story. Let me tell you what. I graduated Texas A&M in 1990, and the first sales meeting I went to was Remington, I believe, and I roomed with Herb. And he took me under his wing. We were a pretty small company back then, and Herb took me under his wing and was telling me do's and don'ts. And I got up a little before Herb, and I looked over, and there's some kind of, we're in Colorado Springs. You're in Colorado somewhere. This 25 years ago, and I looked over, and there's some animal in our hotel room. It's barely getting light, and I'm looking over, and it's not moving because I'm about to, I don't know if I'm going to run or try to kill it or what. But anyway, it was Herb's toupee on top of the cowboy boots. Oh, that's classic. Best story ever. I mean, he looked at me. I go, "What is that?" He goes, "My toupee." Love you, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
He ain't buying you lunch now.
I already ate. Y'all be good.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Phil Marks, Gary.
And we are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
That's right, it's hour 2 of the best outdoor show on radio, hooking up and tracking down. This segment presented by Ranger Boats, the Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series, along with Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, reminding you to rotate your tires every oil change in order to extend the life of your tires. Now back to Jay Watley, Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master, Steve Graff. Just can't get enough of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. Tune in Saturday mornings from 6 till 8 for more news from the great outdoors with Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master, Steve Graff. These guys are full of great info that's guaranteed to make you a better hunter or fisherman. Tune in from 6 till 8 Saturday mornings right here on 1130 The Tiger, the home of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show.
Got a text a second ago from one of our regular friends, Bubba Hadaway. And Steve, he says, I've been using the pop and perch for 2 months now and never touch a frog anymore.
Huh, wow.
It's become that big of a staple for him. You know, if there's a frog application there, he's throwing the pop and perch. So you can't get a better testimony on a local level than something like that.
There you go. Hey, we got a very special guest in the studio, a guy we've had on the show before and a good friend of us, a friend of mine and a friend of the program, Charlie Evans, FLW Pro Charlie Evans. And, Charlie, welcome aboard. Thank you for being with us today.
I'm always glad to be on.
Well, we're glad to have you. You got something you want to announce today, and we are so excited. I've kind of previewed this a little bit on Facebook. Hey, big announcement. Charlie, what's going on with bass fishing?
Well, I'm not supposed to say anything for 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock today at the ICAST show, Scott Martin will be at the FLW booth announcing and introducing the 2017 USA Bass Team that'll be competing in South Africa October the 2nd through the 9th in the Bass World Championship.
Wow.
This is big news now, but this is the first step of a few steps that's going to lead to bass fishing becoming an Olympic sport.
Really?
Really. I'm serious.
That is incredible.
Serious as a heart attack. We have a plan. We've already got, I'm with U.S. Angling now. I'm on the board of directors there, which is a nonprofit, a 501c3. And all we're doing is want to make sure that the sport grows. And,
right.
And we have applied to the Olympic Committee.
Right.
IOC.
And you think that'll happen?
I know it's going to happen. They've already responded back to us, told us what we need to do. This is the first step in meeting those qualifications. is putting together this team, and we've put together a dream team. I'm not talking about just a.
That was my next question. How are these guys selected?
They're from BASS and FLW Tour.
Okay.
We're talking about a
The
dream
best of the
team,
best.
the best of the best. 2 o'clock, they'll tell you who they are.
Okay.
So don't tell anybody. Don't tell.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody
All right.
until 2 o'clock. But our captain will be Scott Martin. He's the captain of our team.
Great guy.
Forcewood Cup champion.
Great angler.
of the year. David Dudley.
Oh,
FLW's
wow.
leading money winner.
Yeah.
Scott Canterbury, Mr. Second Place.
I mean,
how are we doing so far?
You're doing great.
David Fritz.
Oh,
The guy that won both the Bass Classic and the Forcewood Cup.
Yeah.
One of 5 guys to do that. Fred Rubanis.
Oh, another
Boom
great.
Boom.
Yeah, another
You
great
know,
angler.
Boom Boom. Mark Rose.
Another great angler.
2 wins in a row this year. Always
the
in
first
the top
time that's
10.
ever happened on FLW Tour.
Ever. James Watson,
Yeah.
the guy that won in Bass Opens, and we put a ringer in there. Don't tell anybody this. Lionel Botha, owner of Halo Rods. You heard of Halo
Okay,
Rods?
yeah, know Halo.
Lionel started Halo Rods. He moved here to the United States 5 years ago. Guess where from?
South Africa.
You got it. How'd you know these things?
Just saying,
He
just
is
guess.
from South Africa. He's fished on the Vaal River where this tournament's going to take place.
Oh.
A lot of times, we actually won some tournaments on the Vaal River, and so we put him on.
A little local knowledge.
You doggone right. So we're going to kind of give us a little insurance and go over there and win the gold medal.
There you go.
And,
now, what countries will be participating?
there's 78 countries that are involved
Really?
in this organization. I'm not sure yet how many have signed up for South Africa. I'm sure most of them will come when they hear the United States is coming.
Yeah.
They've never competed before. When we hear the name, the team we got together, it's going to excite the entire fishing world. This is a neat deal.
Who's some of the elite guys?
The elite guys, Fred Robanis, David
Well, okay,
Fritz. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, dude, that's
They're
awesome.
from the elites, and the rest of the guys are
So
from
how many
the-
total do we have?
We have 8 team
Eight?
anglers. 8
Eight
team
team.
anglers, and we'll actually have 6 that will be competing.
Okay.
And but we can switch in and switch out. You know.
Is this going to be kind of a bracket style format, or how's
It's
this?
2 days of practice, 3 days of competition. We'll have 3 boats on the water, 2 of our anglers in a boat.
Okay.
But it's the whole 6-man team.
So it's a team deal.
Team deal, fishing for the gold medal, gold, silver, and bronze medal. We also need to raise some money to help these guys get over there and support the United States. You know, represent the United. These guys are going to represent the United States, and if anybody wants to support for sponsorship, corporations that want to get involved, go to usabass.org and find out all about it. And for individuals that want to kind of help the team get over there, they can go to GoFundMe.com/USABass. And they can donate to help get our team over. How are we doing on the side
We're
business?
doing good till it fails.
But anyway, we're going to try to raise some funds to get the team over there, support the team, winning the gold medal, and making the drive to make bass fishing an Olympic sport.
Man, Gary, is that exciting or what?
I'm just thinking, you know, in any minute, Charlie is going to announce that one of the alternates is Gary McCoy, and I have not heard that, and I know he's saving that for the 2 o'clock announcement.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, that also falls in line when Gary signs up to be the #1 name and title sponsor of the team.
There you go, Gary. It's all about money, Gary.
Just get your checkbook out, boy. Bow up and get you some.
There you go. Well, Charlie, what little time we got left? How's it going, FLW, right now? Everything going great?
Everything's going great.
Good year, everybody's. It's good year this year.
It's the absolute worst year I've ever had in my life fishing.
Yeah.
I've had more fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a difference.
And you're going to have those years once in a while. That's what a lot of people don't
We were
understand.
talking in the Lou's booth earlier today that you can look back over the year when you've had a down year. You can pick out a fish here, a fish there, and a fish here. That would have changed the entire year.
The whole
completely.
complexion of the season
And
changed.
that happened to me this year, but I'm still having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'll be back next year. Try it again. I'm going to be at Forcewood Cup.
Still representing Ninja Turtles.
Still with the Turtles. Unfortunately, not as participant, but we'll be displaying there with Kid Casters. The Ninja Turtles will be there.
Right.
It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure everybody comes to Columbia and watches that. And like I said, here, the Turtle Truck and Boat.
Yeah.
First thing when you walk into the
Oh, you
ICAST
can't
show,
miss it.
first thing you see is the Ninja Turtle Boat and Truck.
You can't miss it.
And we've got a lot of new products out for kids to try to get kids out there and get them involved in fishing, get them in the outdoors. Thank you guys for all your help in getting those kind of things done.
No problem. We thank you for coming on with us today, Charlie. Appreciate you.
All right, Steve.
Gary?
Hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger.
Yeah, it didn't take long for him to catch my attention.
That's right, it's hour 2 of the best outdoor show on radio, Hooking Up and Tracking Down. This segment presented by Ranger Boats, the Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series, along with Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, reminding you to rotate your tires every oil change in order to extend the life of your tires. Now back to Jay Watley, Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master, Steve Graff.
Actually, the old mud hen, Mike Eccles, isn't here today. In fact, he's going to be out again next week as well. But the Dink Master, the Ranger Pro Staffer, Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff is actually not in the studio today. He is in Orlando at the ICAST show, which is essentially, if you will, the new product show for the entire fishing industry. Hey, you know what, Steve? Do they cover both freshwater and saltwater with ICAST?
Yes, they do. There was a lot of saltwater stuff on display today over here at the ICAST Product Showcase that I actually looked at just real briefly. I've kind of started to get in a little, my brother, I go down there to the Galveston and fish down there. We wade fish a little bit. So I'm kind of intrigued a little bit more now with the saltwater than, the guy like myself that tournament fishes all the time. And I don't know, it's opened up a whole new world for me, Gary, going down there and casting in saltwater and wade fishing. It's just a little different animal, a little different, just a whole different ball game altogether.
Well, we've gotten so involved with the CCA of Louisiana over the last couple of years that, saltwater, I didn't realize how many people from our neck of the woods will head down to Hackberry, Lake Calcasieu, on over to Venice and those areas, and how big of a deal that is, going all the way to Grand Isle in some cases. And you start thinking about, all of our freshwater stuff, and especially, your affiliation with Daiwa over the last couple of years, you wonder sometimes, are we just seeing just the Daiwa freshwater, or is there, this huge line that's also available saltwater that might have a freshwater application?
Daiwa is probably I think they're one of the most innovative up-and-coming, when it comes to product line and varying from saltwater to freshwater. I've got Andy Montgomery in here, Elite Series Pro. He's going to tell us all about what Daiwa's got coming out right now. Andy, thanks for being with us today. And you heard Gary's question. You probably give him a better answer than I can.
Right. And he was talking about saltwater, and one of the biggest technologies Daiwa has is a mag seal bearing.
Right.
We know when you fish saltwater how bad corrosion can be on your stuff, and even when you fish fresh. If you get anything wet, eventually it's going to rust.
Now, is that the ones with the magnetic oil?
Yes, and they're just sealed so water can't get in.
Right.
The mag seal bearing for saltwater fishing is absolutely incredible. It's incredible for freshwater fishing.
Yeah.
For saltwater fishing, the mag seal technology that Daiwa has is absolutely a game changer, and what makes them the leader in saltwater as well.
Right. Tell us, I know, of course, last year Tatula, the last couple of years, that's been the big new reel on the market for Daiwa. We're still Tatula, but now we've got the Type R.
Yeah, the Tatula Type R. We got the Tatula SV.
Explain the difference between a Type R and the SV.
Okay, so basically we started with the original Tatula, and the main feature of the original Tatula was the T-wing system.
Right.
Well, it was a little bit bigger reel just because of the first technology and the T-wing system. It was absolutely incredible reel, best reel I've ever put in my hand.
Yeah.
But as always, every year you get a little better, and even when I think you can't get no better, they keep getting a little better. So we actually went from the original Tatula to they come out with the Tatula CT, which is actually just a little smaller T-wing system, a little smaller reel, weighs a little bit less, fits in your hand good.
Right.
And the old Tatula still had its place for long casts, had a bigger spool, but the Tatula CT also had its place for really short casting and stuff like that. You can still make great long casts with it, but fishing around the bank, target fishing, the Tatula CT fit in your hand great and was really a good deal. And then this year, actually introduced at the Classic, is the Tatula SV.
Okay.
Which is basically the CT frame, but it has the SV spool in it. And the SV spool is just a free-floating spool. So, you can actually...
If you free spin it, it'll spin forever.
That's right. And you can actually make incredibly long class, but it doesn't backlash much, so it's great for... me, I like to skip docks. It's great for a guy trying to learn to skip docks because you can really make that thing where it won't backlash. And we don't want to lose sight of the T-wing system because that was the original Tatula featuring the T-wing system was the game changer.
Right.
The T-wing system, the way it cuts down friction on your line is just incredible. but every year they add a little something else to it. You know, they may add the SV spool, they may add a mag seal bearing to a certain, you know, product line.
But they're keeping that aluminum frame the same, pretty much.
That's right, and keeping the T-wing system. The T-wing system is pretty much across the board on freshwater reels now, and that's really incredible.
Now, there's a line of reels. You know, a lot of people have the assumption that, you know, the same reel that they're throwing, you're throwing, but there are some differences between what the Elite Series guys are throwing. In some of the stuff, I forgot what the term. There's 3 letters, I think. That's the term for that. That, you know, you guys reels. It's got more metal components inside, more.
Well, I don't know. Well, we throw what the guys are buying on the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
JDM, is it JDM or?
The JDM bearings. That's kind of an aftermarket thing. I don't throw them though. That's not a part of the Daiwa deal. I throw the same exact reel you can buy off the shelf.
Okay. Because a lot of companies have a JDM series where they offer that reel, and it's supposed to be for the elite guys. And
no, that's, you know, like I say, Daiwa, I throw it just what you go buy at the store.
That's what you're throwing.
Exact same thing that we throw on the Elite Series.
Here's the ballistic series that I saw that's on the ICAST product showcase. It's their newest, and I guess the ballistic LT is their newest line of spinning reels that's on the market. Tatula, they got a new Tatula, new Fuego.
Right.
Is that a market that I was just really trying to tap into hard?
Well, the thing with the spin, you know, the Tatula, it's the lower price point. You know, all the Tatula series of reels are under $200. You know, the regular Tatula CT is like $139. Very, very affordable. Our spinning reel line was still kind of a higher price point, so they wanted to build a really, really strong, good reel for a cheaper price point in the spinning rods as well. And that's the reason we came out with the new ballistic, the new Tatula LT, the new Fuego LT.
Right.
It's light. Everything's light in this business now. You know, you want light rods. You want light reels.
How small and light can I make it now?
Exactly right. So it's just you know, they feature the great technology. The mag seal is great for saltwater. They feature that technology at a lower price point, and they're super light. So that's the biggest thing, is they're super light and the mag seal technology.
Gary McCoy back at the studio there. He's been looking for a crankbait rod.
Right.
Tell us about the line of crankbait rods that Daiwa has.
So at the Classic, we actually introduced the Tatula Elite Series rods, which is basically the Daiwa Pro staff got to build their own rods. You know what they like.
Right.
You know what they're known for. So Ish built his flipping rod,
frog
rod.
Right.
Randy Howe actually built the cranking rod, so you can get the Tatula Elite cranking rod. Randy Howe cranking rod.
Okay.
Brent Ayler, Cody Meyer, they built some drop shot rods. Seth Fider built a hair jig rod and a jerkbait rod. I built a skipping rod because I mean that's what I'm known for, is skipping. So
you're more of a power guy.
That's right. We all took our specialty and we built our own rods and put them all in the line because it's a Tatula Elite line at a good price point. You know, an affordable price point. That man, it's just cool to, you know, I've always wanted a great skipping rod that was mine, that I actually built. And I was able to do that with Daiwa, and I'm sure these other guys, you know, Randy's cranking rod, for instance, the handle's a couple inches shorter. It's a solid handle. That's what Randy wanted, and that's what he got. And the same with the rest of the guys. You know, the drop shot. Cody Meyer wanted like a 7.4 drop shot rod. He got it. Brent Ayler wanted a 7.1. He got it. So what these guys, you know, their experience of what's best for the technique that they're known for, that's the rod they're designed.
What are you looking for in a rod? Let's I guess I'll start with a spinnerbait rod. You know, a lot of guys I know, I throw mediums.
Right.
How important is the line that you put on that rod and reel in conjunction with the rod?
Well, it's important, but you know, and now we've kind of shifted to where we mostly use fluorocarbon, especially the elite guys. You know, monofilament has a lot of stretch, so you could use monofilament line and get away with a stiffer rod because of the stretch of the monofilament.
Right.
But now basically we use fluorocarbon, we use braid. Now you do have to take that into consideration when you select a rod, because braid has absolutely zero stretch. Fluorocarbon still has a little bit, but not near what monofilament has. So if you're using a braid, then you're probably going to need a little softer rod, especially if you got treble hooks. If you're flipping, you still can use a heavy rod. And if you're using fluorocarbon on, you know, something with treble hooks cranking or something, then you may want just a dab stiffer rod.
Right.
So, line can factor into it, but you know, with the way we kind of did away, I don't say did away, but we very rarely throw monofilament anymore.
Right.
We used to throw it on top waters because fluorocarbon sinks, but now we're all throwing our top waters on braid with just a little short leader. So, yeah, line can be important, but not as big of a factor as it probably used to be.
Right, Andy, I've got a question for you. Is there any truth? Now, you can clear up this rumor. Is there any truth to the rumor that Daiwa is also releasing the Steve Graff Dink rod? Is that in the works? You know, for those, for the 12-inchers, you know, is that one coming out?
12 inches is a big fish, you know, Major League Fishing.
Hey, Major League Fishing, Andy will catch him all day long.
But is there any truth that it's got Snoopy on the butt end of the rod?
You know, he's sitting here and he looks like he's got some boots on, like he's been wading in the creek and catching them little knotty heads. So you're talking about a true.
Hey, I don't know what pants Andy's got on today, but I got these pants on today because of Andy Montgomery. I saw him wearing these on Major League Fishing. These are hook pants.
Yeah.
And those are the most comfortable pants you ever put on your body.
They're really good.
I tried to get Gary and him back in studio, Mike Eccles. Mike's got a gift certificate that I gave them both for Christmas. I said, go over there to Davis Clothing and Outdoor, buy you some of them hook long pants.
Yeah.
It's the most comfortable pants you'll ever put on your body.
Yeah, and you know, he's saying he put them on because they're comfortable. He's actually putting them on because they dry. You know, water dries pretty quick on them hook pants.
When you're wading in those creeks.
That's right. He's been wading in the creek catching them knotty heads on that dink rod. That's the whole real reason to it.
Gary, the best part is they got that elastic waist in them and the waistband, so they expand really good.
That's your Thanksgiving pants.
When you ain't embarrassed when you tell your wife that you need a new pair of pants.
Exactly.
You know, the button busted off my pants the other day, and I blamed my wife for it. I said, you dried these things on high heat. She said, what you mean? I said, you dried them so hot they weakened my button and my button bust. She said, you're crazy. I don't dry anything on high heat. I said, well, my belly didn't do it, so you had to dry it on high heat. Weaken my button.
Well, I've gotten so fat my picture fell off the wall at the house. So,
Gary, do we have a minute or two?
We have exactly 1.5 minutes.
Real quick, Andy, I spoke the other night at the high school fishing banquet at Captain Shreve in Shreveport, Louisiana there, and one of the questions that came up to me was, how do I get sponsors? Tell these high school kids that's not important at this stage of the game.
Man, I didn't know where you was going with that question, but I'm glad you said it's not important at this stage of the game, because it's not. They're focusing so much on sponsors, and the number one thing in this sport when you're starting out is catch fish, and everything else will take care of itself. But if you're beating down doors and trying to sponsor, my experience, you're not going to get very far.
Exactly.
Until somebody comes to you, you know, you're just not going to get so far. So, man, just please, you know, high school anglers, focus on fishing. Don't worry about sponsors.
Get better with your skills.
Let the sponsorships take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know where you was going with that question. You scared me, because that's one of my. There's two things that scare me about high school fishing. That's one of them. How they all think they got to have a sponsor before they ever even fish a bass tournament, and that's the wrong way to do it. And also, you know, not finding their own fish, having somebody take them straight to the fish and catch them. I really wish there was some way that the boat captains couldn't even tell them what to do, and let these kids learn
on their own,
learn the process like we have to learn it. And that's going to benefit them in the long run, big time. Because the way they're doing it now, the boat captains carrying them to them, telling them to throw over and chirp. That's not teaching you how to find fish, which is the number one thing in our game, especially in Major League Fishing.
Amen.
And that is the number one thing. If you can't find fish, you know this, Gary, you're a tournament guy. If you can't find fish, you're not going to be competitive.
Amen.
So, I can find dinks all day. So
in the creek, not dead.
Andy Montgomery, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Gary, take it away.
Elite Series Pro Andy Montgomery there, and the whole new line at Daiwa. Obviously, we are just tickled to death to have them aboard with hooking up and tracking down. More from iCast in Orlando, Florida here in just a minute. It's 11:30, The Tiger.
Just a reminder that you can catch us again Saturday mornings from 6 till 8 here on 1130 The Tiger. This segment presented by Natchitoches Ford, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, and the Cowboys Wild Game Washer. If you don't have a game washer, you've got to have one of these. Go to GameWasher.com to learn more. Now back to the guys who could use a good washing, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
And you know what, Graf? You could just about get inside that new crawfish game washer.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, that thing was huge. I was looking at the one that you had the other day, and I noticed that me and Eccles didn't get one of those. It was just you.
Well, it's not even mine. He basically just sent it to me to kind of show me what it's all about. I don't do crawfish.
I understand.
So you and Mike are welcome to take it anytime you want to have it. So I'm not a crawfish guy.
It's Gary McCoy here in the studio, along with Little Topwater. We've got this handled, and Eccles is on vacation this week. He'll actually be back in 2 weeks. But Graf is on the road today in Orlando, Florida, at the National ICAST Convention, and you guys are seeing all kinds of cool products that are being released. And as far as 2018 goes, is there going to be a lot of innovation, or is it just going to be just a couple of things that might be added to the tackle box?
Gary, you know how this industry is. It's a copycat world that we live in, especially when it comes to bait and tackle. Everybody's trying to knock the other one off. And there are a few things. One thing that really got my attention today, and matter of fact, we are waiting on Bass Mafia representative Jeremy Starks. Jeremy's going to try to, hopefully he'll make it up here in time. If not, we're going to talk about some of the special product I saw at ICAST show. But the first product I want to talk about is a tackle storage system by Groove Tackle, G-R-U-V, Groove Tackle. It was very unique, and they said they're going to change and revolutionize the way you store tackle in your tackle systems in your boat. And it's kind of a I guess if you took I'm trying to think here how to describe this, Gary, where you can, we're going to post it on our Facebook page as well, but it's like if you had a crankbait box, you would actually push these crankbaits down into this rubber hole. It's just, you just push it down in there, and it holds the bait in place.
Where do the hooks go?
They have slits on the sides for the hooks to fall into. And it is really neat. I thought, now, this is innovative. This is something different. And on the outside, you know how you got a latch on all your boxes? Mm-hmm. You got a latch?
Yeah.
They're magnetic. It's got a magnetic closure on it.
Wow.
And when you close the lid, and it stays good and tight. I mean, but it takes a little effort to undo it, And I was like, but it's perfect. And I was like, now, this is new and different.
Well, I would say the same thing about the Bass Mafia tackle system, because you gave, each year we try to do a little Christmas present for each other, and this was it last year or the year before? You gave Eccles and I both
last year.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I thought at first, it's just another one of those tackle storage systems for terminal tackle. I had no idea that I've never had one before, because if you've got the little Tupperware looking things that most everybody has, your ounce 1/8 ounce baits wind up over in with the quarters, everything gets shuffled up, the swivels are over in the hooks, and with this Bass Mafia tackle system, nothing moves. I mean, when you lock her down, it's there.
And the versatility of that box I gave y'all, I was like you when I first got it. I thought, well, this is just mainly for terminal tackle. I don't know if they'll like this or not. But then I kind of played with it a little bit, and I thought, shoot, this thing here's pretty darn nice. I should have got me one.
Well, I like the fact that it's rugged, durable. I mean, you know how those little plastic lids on some of the ones that come like in your new Triton boat, they might disintegrate after just a little bit, or leave it out in the sun too long and it won't close up, or you break the latches off. That sucker is almost indestructible. I believe you could beat that thing with a sledgehammer and be okay.
I think you're exactly right, and it's almost like it's bulletproof. That thing looks so tough and durable. Another product that I saw here today that got my attention, we all got our cell phones, and how many of us is either, I'll speak for myself, I've actually dropped mine in Red River. Mine's sitting, one of my first phones is 15 foot deep in Grand Bayou right now. I don't know if it still works or not, but I don't have it.
I got one at the bottom of Bistineau right now.
There you go. this little device here is called a sea sucker, and it's a spider-looking thing that it's adaptable for different size cell phones, and it attaches to the hull of your boat. Like if you want to put it to the right side of your, I'm trying to think here, the right side of your console under the seat there on the bottom, you could attach it. It just you push a button and it sucks it to the side wall of your boat, and it's got a arm that comes off of it with this holding apparatus. It's got rubberized holders on it, and your phone just fits in it, and it holds it securely. And I'm like, now that is freaking cool.
You just got to remember to take it out of your pocket.
Exactly. And don't fall in the lake with it. So, but it got my attention as well. Matter of fact, I voted for it for best boat accessory.
I'm waiting on them to come out with one that'll float.
Yes.
You know, they get a little OtterBox or something like that. You know, life-proof case that'll float.
Right. Now they do have those here at ICAST. I'll take a picture of one if I see them again. I'll take a picture of them and send it to you. Here's another deal that I'm going to buy one of these. This is going to be my Christmas present for this coming year. It's called Power Light. It attaches, where you put your light in your boat, your running lights.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pole that's got a high-powered LED, like a GoPro type USB port and everything on it, and that pole sticks in your boat just like your regular light pole does, and you can elevate at different levels. You can turn the power light at different angles, and I'm telling you, it lights up the world. I will have one of those for Christmas. It is going to be a great Christmas gift idea for the angler that's got pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great gift idea, and I think it runs about $129 to $139, whatever it was. But just a great idea. Whoever come up with this was a really good idea. And again, it's called Power Light. It's made by YOLO-Tech.
Mm-hmm.
YOLOTEK.
Wow.
YOLOTEK.
I fished this past weekend with my cousin, Ray Moore, and he had an attachment that went at the top of his power pole that is his running lights.
Yes, I will have one of those on my boat as well.
Have never seen that before and thought to myself, that's as good as those built-in lights, for the front of the boat, the recessed lights.
No doubt. You just got to be careful with that particular light. You want to check your height measurement between the top of your garage and your floor, because you have to have clearance for the power pole. Power poles tend to sit up a little higher, but mine will sit on top of my Talon shallow water anchor system, and it's about a 3 or 4 inch light. That's all it is. It only adds 2 or 3 inches to your total height. But the regulation is for that, Gary, according to the not the Corps of Engineers. What am I trying to say?
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, U.S. Coast Guard, the backlight has to be the tallest thing on your boat. It has to be above everything on your boat.
Right.
Motor, power poles, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And
as long as it clears, the other power pole, then you're good to go. It's obviously going to clear the motor.
Here's a Jimmy Houston product that I took a picture of. I will be posting it. It's called Line, L-I-N-E, Line Lights. It attaches to your fishing line and runs up and down your fishing line for night fishing with certain baits. I don't know. But Jimmy Houston's behind this. Never tried
Is that the Jimmy Houston Ronco line light?
No Ronco involved.
Okay.
It says Jimmy Houston Line Lights is the name of it. So there you go. Now here's a tool, and Gary, you can appreciate this. One of the things we've learned fishing with Johnny Geis over the years is, when you get a fish hooked deep in the gullet and you want to get that hook out, Johnny showed us a technique on, how to remove that hook by coming behind the gill plate.
Yeah, and actually pulling the hook through the gills. Just separate it, grab it, roll it, and then come out through the gills.
This is a product called Mad Bright. It's actually a trigger hook remover, just like this. It looks like you put a pistol in your hand, and you pull the trigger, and it's got a hook that runs through a tube, and you can run the tube down the fish's throat, hook that tube. I've got one. Bill Dance makes a tool similar to this, but this has got an LED light on it, and it is a neat tool. It's called Mad Bright Hook Remover.
I just knew you were going to say it's got this 410 shell in it, and when you
it's a 38. It can also go show us a 38 if you need it. You know, you put it on your lap when you're fishing being brush top.
And we're going to let Eccles do the demonstration on that one.
Exactly. Here's another product that I saw, and of course, me and you would have to try this before we could really vouch for it. It's made by Sportsman's. It's called the Sportsman's Shake. It's a chocolate protein shake that's made for anglers on the water. Of course, if it's like 2 ding-dongs and a Coke, I don't want no part of it. So,
if it's high protein, I'm telling you, there could be complications.
It could be.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. But let's see here. What else did I come across? Of course, a lot of new – Gary, I don't know. We're going to have to really take a look at it. Eccles brought us back some of those trapper hooks.
Yes, yeah. And I like mine so far.
Do you? I have not tried mine. Of course, I haven't been fishing enough to try them.
Yeah.
But they have a treble hook now out. Here it is right here. They've got a treble hook, a series of treble hooks for number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, number 4s, all the way up to number 6s.
Mm-hmm.
And same hook design, same concept, but it's a treble hook. I'm thinking about if they're giving me they're giving away a package of these, I might try to pick up a package while I'm here. But if you haven't checked out, even though Gamakatsu is one of our sponsors, this is something unique and innovative, and I'm anxious to hear from our viewers and listeners. Do you think it's a gimmick hook? Is this going to be around 5-6 years from now, or is it, here today, gone tomorrow? One of them kind of deals. Is it going to be a fad? You would think by now somebody else would have thought of the same concept, because Gary, you and I both feel like a hook's a hook's a hook.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I saw the way that bait secures the fish. I mean, the way the fish's lip actually drops down into that gap, and basically secured itself there. It was almost like it has a fist grip on it. I was impressed.
And, of course, another product that I have one in my boat, you've seen mine, that S2 slider dip net. They've got a new one out that's just as good as the one they had before. I've still got my old one.
Yours is in the small version?
Mine's in the same, it's in the bass fishing category, and this new net they had on display here is in the same category, but the net fiber is a little bit different. With treble hooks, you can get the treble hook will, snag it.
Destroy your net, yeah.
Yes, and you got to cut the sucker out and replace the net down the road. And this here is a different kind of material that I really liked it. But
rubberized.
It's kind of a rubber coating on it. It's EGO S2 slider net, and it's the most advanced handle. It's the extension handle. It'll extend 6 to 8 feet. I mean, if you want to reach out there and get one out of a bush that you're hung up in and you can't get to him, this is the net you need. So,
all right, I want you to sit tight for just a minute because Graf obviously is at the ICAST show in Orlando, and here in just a minute, they've just released the 2017 Bassmaster Magazine's Best Bass Lakes in America. There have been changes. We'll run through that. Sit tight. It's hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
This show would not be possible without our fine board op and bowling king, Jay Wadley, that's right, who does a great job of pushing all the buttons and producing this show. This segment presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Red River Waterway Commission, Seaguar Fishing Line, and United Rentals, making all your home projects easier by providing great equipment and tools to get the job done. How about it, guys?
Here's your Daiwa Gamakatsu best times to fish. This weekend, fishing is rated as fair. Not good, but only fair. There's only a 20% chance of rain all 3 days this weekend, but temperatures will continue on the hot side with highs in the mid-90s, lows in the 70s. The moon will decrease each night from 80 on Friday to 60% on Sunday. Best time to fish is early evening. Friday, 4:15 to 7:15 p.m. with sunrise at 6:17, sunset at 8:19. Still got some late afternoons, late evening, guys. You can go out there and still wet a hook. Saturday, 5 o'clock till 8 p.m. Sunrise 6:17, sunset 8:19 again. On Sunday, 5:50 to 8:50 p.m. Great times for, especially if you're the Cash Splash series. That's right in that time frame right there for Cash Splash. But even though it's on I guess that's on a Thursday. 8:50 p.m. with sunrise at 6:18, sunset 8:18. This has been your Daiwa Gamakatsu best times to fish.
Hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. It's Gary McCoy, a little top water here, and both of us in the studio. Of course, Graf today is at the ICAST convention in Orlando, Florida. It's all the new products for both saltwater and freshwater fishing, and obviously our emphasis has been mostly on the freshwater fishing, but taking a little diversion from that. BASS just released, Bassmaster Magazine just released the I guess top 12. They haven't released all top 100 yet, to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
But they have released the top 12 best bass lakes in America. 2 years in a row, we had Toledo Bend at the top of the list.
I mean, the top of the list.
And
right.
It's not there now.
No, matter of fact, it's not even in the top 12, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We kind of saw that coming, didn't we?
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a great fishing,
without a doubt,
great fishery.
Right?
You know, but I just didn't think it would fall out of the top 12.
Yeah,
but it actually did. Number one, Mille Lacs Lake is in Minnesota, 132,516 acre lake. The Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Championship was held on this body of water, and of course, it really showed out. Each of the top 5 anglers averaged just above 20 pounds per day. Seth Fielder topping the field with a 3-day total of 76.5. Again, it's only a 3-day event, folks. It's not 4-day. It's a 3-day event. 76.5, more than 25 pounds per day average, Gary.
Is this mostly smallmouth?
No, it's going to be a mixture of largemouth and smallmouth.
Okay. Because one of the bodies of water, you know, I was reading the article, and one of the bodies of water was talking about just the sheer volume of 5 to 7 pound smallmouth that were in that particular lake, and that it you know, everybody was going to average, you know, 20 pounds. It was. I'm sorry.
I think you're right. It must be this lake because it says, remember, these are all smallmouth on this Cabela's Team Trail tournament stop that they had there in August, and but the bottom line is, in the Elite Series event, 94 limits of over 20 pounds, Gary.
Yeah, it was getting that one kicker fish that was the difference in first place or 12th place.
And so, evidently a great fishery. You just don't, when you think of bass fisheries, you don't think north of the Mason-Dixon line. Well, I don't.
No.
I
wonder when was the last time that the number one body of water was, you know, let's say above Kentucky?
I have no idea. Champlain might have been in that mix a few years ago.
Lake Erie generally is you know, one of the top tier lakes.
Now Lake Erie did come in, I think. Yes, it came in at number 7.
Okay.
Number 2, Sam Rayburn. I'm telling you right now, Gary. I know you haven't been to Sam Rayburn much, but let me just go ahead and tell you, if you wanted to go take somebody fishing right now, there is no place, in my opinion, in the South for sure, better than Sam Rayburn right now. You can go over there and catch 50, 60 bass a day, even if you're just flipping the bank.
Wow.
It is insane. Now, flipping the bank ain't going to win you tournaments over there, but you want to go have fun and catch some fish, that is definitely the place to go right now. Sam Rayburn, let's see here, this lake is no longer playing second fiddle to his next-door neighbor, Toledo Bend, and says, in fact, the fishery has been on fire for, well, it says this year, but I'll go as far back as 2 years. Bass Champ Circuit stopped at Rayburn twice this spring. It required a 30-pound sack to win both events with Bass Champs. So, and every one of the top 50 teams during the March 11th event weighed 5 fish stringers exceeding 20 pounds. 50 teams weighed over 20 pounds, Gary. And that's just, I don't know. And you know, we've talked about on here before, you know, when we've had Tommy Martin on and some of the Elite Series pros, you know, Larry Nixon a few weeks ago, why is Toledo Bend, why did it fall off a little bit? Well, water level. Water level has a lot to do with that. And when your water levels are down, the spawns aren't as good. And I never equated that. I never put those two together until we had Tommy Martin on and he talked about it. In Rayburn, the water has been 6 to 7 feet above pool there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And because
we hadn't had a water level issue for the last 2 years on Toledo.
No, exactly.
So hopefully, you know, another 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to see the recruits from those spawns, you know, starting to show up.
Well, and what people have asked me, well, why was Rayburn so high and Toledo so low? Well, here's the answer. When we had the major floods in the spring a couple of years ago, the Sabine River, which flows straight through Toledo Bend and out the dam of Toledo Bend, those people down the Sabine River got flooded out dramatically. Toledo Bend released a lot of water. Well, Sam Rayburn feeds that same neck of the woods over there, and so Sam Rayburn held their water back. They weren't releasing water. They were holding their water back just so they wouldn't flood out the people down around Beaumont, Orange, Texas, all through there, Deweyville. And so they held their water back on purpose. Yeah. And which has benefited Sam Rayburn tremendously.
Well, if you will, give us real quickly, you know, the places 3, 4, and 5, because I want to address what we got here at home.
Yes. Number 3 is Clear Lake, California. Number 4 is Sheridan Harris Lake in North Carolina. Number 5 is Sacramento San Joaquin Delta, which the Delta region's always been famous. Number 6, Lake Berryessa in California. Number 7 is Lake Erie in New York. Number 8, Santee Cooper, Marion, and Moultrie, South Carolina. I actually fished a tournament there about 4 years ago. Number 9, Lake St. Clair in Michigan. And number 10, Falcon Lake down in Texas is on the rise once again because, again, Gary, Falcon and Amstead, who dropped off the map for a while, are on the way back again because they've got water back in the lake again.
You know, and that's the most amazing thing to me. You'd think that when the lake is low, man, the fishing ought to be crazy. And it ought to just stay crazy until the water level comes back and all the fish disappear and go into the places that you can't get to, and they're not as all tightly knit. But I will say this. When the lake comes down like that, I think the fish population, they get moved in so much closer to all the bait fish. I think the population truly benefits from that low water. They might not reproduce as much. They might not spawn as much. But I think they're in a lot better shape.
Yes, I totally agree with you. You know, I don't know if you're fixing to go over the
top lakes in Louisiana.
Yeah, top Central Division lakes, which Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota is. This is straight from Texas all the way up to Minnesota. Mille Lacs Lake, Minnesota. Sam Rayburn's number 2. Falcon Lake's number 3. Number 4 is Toledo Bend. Number 5 is Lake Palestine over in East Texas outside of Tyler. Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin is number 6. Newton Lake, Illinois is number 7. Lake Ray Roberts over there around Dallas is number 8. Lake Ojai, South Dakota, North Dakota, not familiar with that, it's number 9. Lake Amstead, once again, is on the rise at number 10. Lake Fork comes in at number 11. Lake of the Ozarks up in Missouri, Great Lake, is number 12. Caddo come in at number 13. I probably would have put Caddo higher than that.
Well, you know, now one of the things that because I do think that Caddo had a higher appearance. I think they broke, if I remember the articles right, they broke it out by state. They had Texas, they had Louisiana. They went through each state and released those as well. Maybe I just saw that online, but I want to say that Caddo, you know, obviously did better in the state of Texas and in Louisiana than it did in the entire Central Division.
Yeah, you're probably right, and rightfully so. I mean, I just think Caddo on a national level kind of gets overlooked. I don't know if it's because of its obscurity or where it's located. Just the fact that, Caddo is one of the only natural lakes in the country. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Table Rock comes in at number 15. Number 16 is Texoma. I'll be headed over there in the next couple of months for a big event, 3-day tournament over there at Texoma. Lake Darnell up in Arkansas comes in at 17. Grand Lake of the Cherokees, I fished there a couple of months ago, is number 18. Lake Waco is number 19. Bistineau comes in at 21. Ouachita up in Arkansas is at 22. I'm looking down here.
Where does the Atchafalaya Basin have any presence?
Absolutely none. Zero.
Wow. Wow.
And I can attest to that a little bit, Gary, because I fished down there quite a bit. Matter of fact, I actually caught eccles one day. I was so desperate to try to catch fish, I caught eccles. And
You're scraping the bottom then.
Boy, I was. I couldn't get nobody else on the phone. Nobody talked to me. Anyway, but Eccles had some experience down there, and I knew he had. And of course, he told me some things to try. But I'm telling you right now, Gary, to go down there, 12-inch fish are just even hard to catch. But it's gotten better in the last couple of years. It is on the comeback. But I'm telling you right now, it was like pulling teeth down there just to get a bite. And there was only a few places down there that are actually holding quality fish at all. If you had 12 pounds, you had a shot to win the tournament. So
wow.
It was that bad. But anyway,
Red River, no mention?
No, absolutely none. And don't look for Red River to get mentioned anytime in the next 2 or 3 years, probably. Now, kudos. I'm glad you brought that up. Kudos to the Red River Waterway Commission. People that don't understand what the commission does, it's located right there in Natchitoches. These guys are doing everything they can, Gary, to bring the fishing back to the Red River. They're going to double up on their stockings of Floridas from 50,000 to 100,000 for the next 2 or 3 years.
Where do they, what are their plans? I mean, do they have brood ponds? Do they, are they going to buy these? Where do they release them? Are they releasing them down at Granite Core? Are they releasing them up here all over? What's the plan?
Every pool will get its fair share, especially the top 3 pools. 3, 4, and 5 is where the majority of the fishing is anyway on Red River, especially the prime fishing. Any tournaments are all pretty much 3, 4, and 5. They're going to get the majority of them. Now, I don't know whether I think they're just purchasing them and bringing them in. I don't think they have brood ponds close by. Well, the Natchitoches Fish Hatchery may be providing that for them. That is a federal fish hatchery at Natchitoches. It's not a state; it's a federal. I'm not sure if they're involved in that or not. I can find that out though. But they'll use tournaments from time to time to ask anglers, hey, or they'll know one guy's going into the Willow Pocket. They'll know another guy's going to Sullivan's. They'll know another guy's going to Wagon Wheel. And they'll give them bags of fish and say, "Will you please dump these when you get there?" Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, tournament anglers are called on to be the distributors of those, of those fish.
All righty, Graf is at ICAST in Orlando. We're going to talk the best products at ICAST. What has caught our boys' eye? What's going to be in all of our Christmas stockings this year? That's up next. We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
Well, this is it, our final segment. Please check out our new website at HUTDshow.com, an information highway for all things related to the great outdoors. This segment is presented by Nichols Department Stores, Kamagatsu Hooks, Spro Lures, and Toledo Town & Tackle. The largest tackle box on the bin with a great selection of Daiwa rods and reels, Spro Lures, and Kamagatsu Hooks. One more time, here's Topwater Wadley, Chatterbait McCoy, Deke Master Graff, and Mudhen Eccles.
Hey, if you're headed for the Gulf Coast region for some great fishing, well, don't be that guy who forgot to register for the CCA Louisiana Star statewide tournament and Anglers Rodeo. Starting Memorial Day weekend and running all the way through Labor Day, Star is Louisiana CCA's largest membership drive and helps provide funding for all types of coastal and intercoastal projects statewide. It's not just a coastal organization, folks. Anglers compete for over $500,000 in prizes from boats to trucks. It's not too late. Register now. If you're going to the Gulf Coast to do some fishing, guys and gals, make sure you register because you'll never know. You just might catch that fish of a lifetime. Go to ccastar.com to learn more and to register for the greatest fishing tournament in the Gulf Coast region.
Hooking up.
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
You finish up, brother.
No, I got it. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, Hooking Up and Tracking Down, obviously well represented. We got Graff in Orlando at the ICAST convention. And, you know, every year that you get over there, it always amazes me what you see and will get named the best of the class, the best new product or whatever. And last year you were like, dude, it's this little bait. It's a duck thing, and I don't get it. And do you know anybody that purchased that lure?
Not a single soul. I have asked so many people, especially some of the Elite Series guys, because, you know, let's be honest. Even though they're Elite Series guys, do not fool yourself into thinking that they won't try something off the wall.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's one thing that makes them who they are.
Yeah.
Now, here's something that I did see today, and you're wondering, Gary, why has this not come out before? It's made by Fish Head. Fish Head's the name of the company. It's a spinnerbait. It's called the Primal Spin. It's got a combination of a Colorado willow leaf on top. Underneath, it's got another blade coming off the underneath the head of the spinnerbait with another willow leaf spinner on it. It's like a willow leaf above, willow leaf below. And I thought, why has nobody ever thought of that before now?
How's that secured on there? I mean, how do they get it down?
It comes through the lead head off the bait.
Really?
The bait. Yeah, it's secured through there somehow. And it's got a swivel on it and everything with a spinner on it.
So it looks kind of like a little miniature umbrella rig without the extra hook.
It's just an underspin type spinnerbait, but It's also got the spinner on top. So that's something to take a look at. It's made by Fish Head, and it's called the Primal Spin.
Now, when you go to ICAST, are most of the things there already available, or is this stuff that won't be available until January?
It's a mix, Gary. Some of the product is already out, like the new V&M Skip Jig. It's out. It's been out for a little while. Different baits. Yeah, honestly, talking to Cliff Pace on the way over here to the show this morning, we all rode together, and I kind of asked Cliff. I said, you know, what's the deal? Why do they always have this in July? He said, the worst time of year they can have this is right now. He said, companies have already come out with their product. He said, orders aren't being written right now. He said, I really don't know why they have July scheduled for ICAST. It ought to be October, November, because people start writing orders in December and January, you know, to stock their stores up for the next year.
Yeah.
And he said it'd be a lot more fresh on their mind with new product if they waited and introduced some of this stuff in October and November. But, you know, it is what it is. So, let's see here.
Are like a number of the Elite Series pros there?
Oh, they're all here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're all required to be here. I mean,
when you're walking that floor, and is this open to the public?
No, it's not open to the public. You have to be a media, involved with the media, or you have to be a vendor like Kurt Carver,
Daryl Laurent.
Daryl Laurent.
Yeah,
you have to be somebody in that category. You can't just walk in the door and get to go tour all these booths. They're trying to sell product to distributors and stores.
Okay.
Stock.
So when you're there and the Elite Series pros are there, are you able to weigh through the stuff they really believe in, or as compared to the stuff they're just getting paid to talk about?
Gary, they're trying to sell.
I know, but I mean, there's certain products that you can tell when they're talking, they believe in that sucker.
Well, again, when I saw Greg Hackney describe the new crankbait that's a little bigger than the 2.5 series of crankbaits that they've already got
Yeah, that 4.0.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, if they'd have had them for sale, I'd have bought 5 or 6 of them. I mean, these guys know how to sell. Again, just like when I told the kids at Captain Shreve, the one thing, catching fish is important, and you need to be able to catch fish because that's how you get recognized when you're in the winner's circle.
Yeah.
But the next thing is you've got to be able to communicate and talk to people. You got to be able to sell a product.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't do that, they don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if you can catch 40 pounds a day.
Right.
If you can't sell the product, they don't care. They don't need you.
What about changes in electronics? Any of the big companies there, Lowrance, Humminbird, Garmin, any of those guys there was something that's like, oh, this might be a game changer.
Gary, when it comes to electronics, some of this stuff is so far over my head, it's ridiculous. I mean, they got everything on these. They're like mini computers. Well, like I saw today, I took a picture of the new Lowrance 16-inch screen.
What?
Gary, that almost covers the front end of my body.
You can watch a Super Bowl on that one.
Exactly.
I'm just telling you.
Like, what the heck, man? How big a screen do you need?
Hey, you should see. My cousin Ray's got a Ranger just like yours, and he's got two 12s side by side. And he is so good with those Lowrance electronics. He was trying to explain to me, that was the purpose of the trip, really was, I was just showing him around a little bit on Toledo Bend, but he was showing me, how to read those graphs. And you know what? There are places, if you're good with your electronics, there are places that you can sit at home with your Navionics chip in your Lowrance unit. You can sit at home, yes, and you can draw an X on that map, and you say there ought to be fish right there, and you drive to that spot and catch fish right there, never been there before in your life.
Yeah, you can scout in your lounge chair.
Yes.
And before you even leave the house.
He can transfer that stuff all over to his PC at home or his laptop or whatever the case might be. And he can literally say, well, it's this time of the year. I understand the fish are, in 12 foot of water. This looks like a great spot right here. I'm going to try this place and put 50 waypoints on his screen. And in a matter of minutes, bam, he's run through half of them. And really all you got to do at that point is determine, A, are there fish there? B, do they want a moving bait or do they want something on the bottom?
Yeah, yep, you're exactly right. Another thing that I've seen here, of course, with our program, we promote take a kid fishing all the time. Hey, get those youngsters out there and teach them how to fish or hunt, either one. There's a kids caster. Anything Possible is the brand on this. Is the name of the brand. It's called Anything Possible. They've got a great, the little golf grip stuff that you have on golf clubs. They've got their rod and reels. Their rods have that same grip on it, and they got a 4-inch. Spin cast is what's a 4-foot spin cast combo. It's a 4-foot total length, but they got a great little reel on it, and it's a closed face spin combo. Kind of like your old Zebco reel, but the quality of the little small reel is insane. And I thought, now this is great. I voted, matter of fact, for Kids Product of the Year. I voted on this one as it's just. I was just impressed with the overall quality. Of the rod and reel for a kid. And again, it's called Anything Possible Brands. You can probably you can go to kidcasters with an S.com, kidcasters.com, and you can see this particular.
Okay, we're running out of time. What does Graph give best of show?
Well, let me go back through my photos here. I'm gonna probably go with the either the iPhone holder for your boat. I thought that was really cool. Gamakatsu's got a new tackle box out. It's nice. I like it. The bait that I've caught some fish on is on display here. It's a new bait that's being introduced here, even though it's already out. It's the Stutter Step by Rattle Trap. It's really doing, and they got one called the 4.0 that is new, and check it out as well. Yeah, I'm going to have to say, Gary, right now, that tackle box that I saw with Bass Mafia, no, I'm sorry, not Bass, but Groove Fishing tackle box, the hard bait box, that's going to probably get my overall attention because it's the most innovative.
Spell
box.
that name again.
GRUV.
GRUV. All right, we're going to look that one up. You get us wrapped up, buddy, and thank you for a great show from the ICAST convention.
Hey, I appreciate you guys being with us today. And, folks, again, check us out on Facebook as well because all these will be posted. All these interviews will be posted on our Facebook page. Coming to ICAST, it gives you great appreciation for the imagination, dedication to create products that will make fishing fun and interesting. The technology and thought that goes into making fishing tackle is incredible. Whether it's soft plastic lures, crankbaits, spinnerbaits, topwater lures, or terminal tackle, it boggles your mind on how innovative some of these companies are. Today we salute all the tackle companies that continue to bring us quality products designed to do one thing, catch fish. For Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, Jay Wiley, yours truly, Steve Graff, from ICAST 2017. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week with more Hooking Up and Tracking Down on 1130 The Tiger.